way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Okay, we're into the second hour. I want to open the phones up. I have played some of the clips I want to go over, but I want to break down exactly how they will roll out the implementation of the camps coming up in the next segment. I want to play a clip from congressional hearings back in the 80s dealing with martial law concentration camp plans. The toll-free number to join us on the Sunday broadcast is 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. Specifically, I'd like to get your take on the prospects of paying roughly double in the next few years for your electrical power. You're already paying more under the unofficial carbon taxes. The carbon taxes are they shut down their competition and you pay the insiders more money. That's a direct tax, a direct insiders. I mean, why wouldn't big corporations come in if the people aren't aware and informed and they've got corrupt politicians that'll do whatever they're told? Wouldn't corporations come in and shut down their competition? Of course they would. Of course they would. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Do you have a view on that? Do you have a view on Ron Paul? Next time he's on, I'll bring more of this up with him. I've brought up the Emergency Centers Establishment Act, and he said it is a concern. But we already have the biggest prison population in the world. We're going into a depression. Gold is at $1,880 an ounce right now. What do you expect? What do you expect to happen? What do you think these tyrants would do? They've done exactly what tyrants throughout history have done over and over and over again. So again, I want to take your calls, but have your comment or your question ready because we can move to the next person. The toll-free number to join us is 877-789-ALEX or 877-789-2539. It's a different number than the weekday show because we're still on the Genesis Network on Sundays, but we're running the entire show out of our own office, our own studios here on the Sunday 2-hour transmission. Now, some of the other news that we'll get to after I finish up with the FEMA camp information and the fact that it's starting to come out in the mainstream news. First responders not welcomed at 911 ceremony. That's right, none of them are welcomed because they've been complaining about the deadly dust and what the government did to them, CNN reports. First responders decry exclusion from 911 ceremony. Only in globalist-controlled America with a K would you see that type of evil. Also, we've got the latest on Libya. We're going to be breaking down. And, of course, I mentioned this earlier, but I've got to get more into it. Barack Obama cannot get Congress to pass amnesty for illegal immigrants. So now he's just going to ram it down our throats any way that he can. And he's saying, I'm just going to legalize the deportees now. We might hold felons and deport them, but everybody else you go free. I'm going to launch wars. I'm going to shut down power plants. I'm going to have the ATF go after gun shops for laws that don't exist. I'm going to have the Air Force raid gun shops in Las Vegas. That's CBS News, Las Vegas. I mean, See, that's the thing. We've gone over the slippery slide. We were starting to go over it, and Bush 5 years ago would say, hey, I promise I'm not spying on you without warrants. I promise. Then it came out he was. And so now they just go, yeah, we're spying on you. Yeah, DynCorp runs child kidnapping rings. Well, what's the big deal? Yeah, the Marines grow the opium in Afghanistan, and we help ship it to you. What's wrong with that? Yeah, we're putting cancer viruses in your vaccines. Yeah, fluoride does give you a 7-fold increase in bone cancer and brain disorders increase. You know what? Yeah, your diabetes doubled the last decade, and so did your cancer. But we got white papers talking about how we're doing it to you. So what? There's a football game on. Here you go, doggy. Football game. Don't worry, we're killing you. Ha ha. Be right back. Alex Jones here with vital information concerning our nation's fragile food supply. Folks, there are some truly dangerous trends forming, and I think it's important for my listeners to do 3 things right away. Number 1, study the past. History really does repeat itself. Number 2, learn to spot the dangerous food shortage trends. Number 3, take decisive action. A perfect storm is brewing, or a global food crisis. That's why I'm telling everyone to read the new book, Rising Prices, Empty Shelves. Warning signs that trigger the deadliest famines in history. Don't get caught unprepared when the crisis hits. This book is only available at risingpricesemptyshelves.com. You'll also get a free copy of Supermarket Survival, How to Cut Your Grocery Bills in Half. Again, that website is risingpricesemptyshelves.com. That's risingpricesemptyshelves.com.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
So, Congressman Ron Paul is asked, are you concerned about the Emergency Centers Establishment Act that openly says they'll build these giant camps all over the U.S. to hold the American people? And Ron Paul says, let me read the quote here, yeah, that's their goal. They're setting up the stage for violence in this country, no doubt about it. And he said on this show before he's concerned. But again, everything in that act is already in place. It's just like when it came out the NSA had been spying on the American people without warrants across the board, everything being filtered through spying systems at the major phone companies. They went from saying they hadn't been doing it to going, yes, we've been doing it. Congress, pass a law. Congress passed a law and just said, Fourth Amendment, who needs it? Well, Congress also passed laws saying black people weren't human. Then they said black people were 2/3 human. Then they said they were human, separate but equal. You know what? Here's the deal, scum. Hitler could pass laws saying he was the supreme ruler. I'm not following him. And the federal government can run around and pay preachers off to tell folks, go to the camp, take your inoculations. I mean, I played you a newscast, and the preachers are saying, when it's time to go to the camp, I tell you to do it. It's of Jesus. No, it's not of Jesus. Jesus didn't follow what the government said to do, and they crucified him. All the prophets, did they throw Daniel in the lion's den because he was licking the king's boots? What about the folks going in the fiery furnace? What about John the Baptist? Did Herod cut his head off because he was following his orders? Hitler's favorite verse, broadcast daily on the radio, was Romans 13. And German Christians just said, Heil Hitler. I mean, totally taken out of context. How creepy is it that the federal government for at least 6-7 years has been covertly training preachers to spy on their flocks and tell them to submit to government, including turn their guns in, go to camps, and take shots? And these same Christians say that Rick Perry is the second coming of Christ, even though he's a porno shop investor and everything else. Although that's confirmed. It got expense account stuff that came out. I didn't believe it when I saw it. I went and looked it up for special type of burlesque shows with men dressed as women. But, you know, at the end of the day, whatever's going on in his personal life, that isn't really my issue. My issue is he's told little girls, it's the law, you got to take a shot. when it wasn't the law. It was a hoax, and he was paid by the company. His chief of staff and others got out there and told the public, hey, it's the law, you got to take this. And Rick Perry came out and said it's the law, you got to take it, when they knew it was an experimental shot that had been killing people in the trials that they couldn't get approval for unless it became government mandated. I mean, that's a new level of evil. But hey, you want to be conned and manipulated? You think it's of the Lord to worship Hitler? Stalin, I mean, whatever government's put above you, it's of God. I thought it's we the people. I thought we were the sovereign. I thought we were the government. Oh, but you heard the newscast. The preacher says we've got to deal with the government's biggest problem, the people, their biggest enemy. Well, but that's actually true. The government is run by a collection of special interests who are totally ruthless and will put dictators in over third world countries to rob the public. Do you think they'll do that here? You better believe it. But not a dictator of a single president, but of a system and of the private contractors that feed off of it. So this article is the top story at Infowars.com. I hope you get it out to everybody. Ron Paul, they're setting the stage for violence in this country. They're going to shut the economy off. The people are going to get angry. Folks that have their pensions cut. People that have their farms taken. Oh, I got another report on that. USDA signs MOU, Memo of Understanding, with Rockefeller Council of Foundations to exploit rural America and to deploy the U.S. Army and Homeland Security as the new green police. And they openly admit it's Agenda 21 of the UN. People that don't know about the Agenda 21, I've been talking about it for 15 years, and now Beck's talked about it some, and that's good. They think we're making it up. You know, when they tried to pass that Food Safety Act written by Big Pharma and Agra to shut down their competition last year, it actually said this law adopts the entire treaty of Codex Alimentarius, which is part of Agenda 21. I mean, you talk about total control. Stalin shut down the farms and ranches. They have ranches out there raising cattle in Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, Poland, the dairies, the rest of it. I mean, if you study the Soviets or you study any other authoritarian system, it's a carbon copy. They are following it like a roadmap. And people are like, well, Obama, we're going to kick him out. He's got low approval ratings. You know, major studies out show he's probably going to lose the election. It doesn't matter. You think the next person who's gone through their whole career selling out to the system, do you think the next person, if it's Mitt Romney or one of these people, Rick Perry, do you really think they're going to change anything? No. That's why they're all going after Ron Paul and demonizing him when they're not ignoring him. Because they're scared. Because they know Ron Paul's real, ladies and gentlemen. He predicted everything that's now happening. Wasn't hard to predict it when they told the banks in '99, you can now issue, if you're a part of the Big Six, unlimited fake counterfeit instruments. And they bought up everything with it. And then when it all went bankrupt, they kept the profits. They privatized the profits and said, here, you pay for it. Socialize the risk. And they bankroll all the candidates. Perry's bankrolled by the big banks while he talks about getting rid of the Federal Reserve because he knows how popular it is. And that's the positive sign. We've gotten to the point now that Rick Perry, who is a political chameleon, a shapeshifter, is talking about, well, I'm rootin' tootin' Yosemite Sam. I want to secede, and I'm shooting coyotes out in Westlake. Yeah, right. There's no dead body, but I did it. I'm rootin' tootin' tough when I'm not. Anyways, now he's like, I'll get rid of that Federal Reserve. You don't print money till after the election, you traitors. Now let's finish up and come back with break with your calls. Let's finish up with a Bill Moyers report from PBS back in the 1980s on Iran-Contra and the fact that there was a plan to stir up riots in America and set up martial law. But that plan got nipped in the bud because Congress blew the whistle. And here's Congressman Jack Brooks being told to shut up when he asked Oliver North about it. Here's the clip.
Reagan was elected to the presidency.